Mercedes is off to a similar start this year as it was the year before. However, the problems have gotten worse. Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton have already experienced a humbling Q1 exit and admit they are a long way behind Ferrari and Red Bull in the first two thrilling races of the new season. So, what exactly is going on with the Silver Arrow? Well, in today's video, we're going to be taking things into further detail as we discuss why and how the Mercedes F1 team is in trouble this year. But first, if you'd like to see more videos like this one and welcome more updates on your favorite car brand or the auto world in general, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because we constantly bring you more of the most current information about modern-day cars. Let's dive in. Mercedes has been alerting the Formula One world throughout pre-season analysis that it was falling behind due to the problematic birth of its W13. Everyone, however, was persuaded by the suggestion that Mercedes was only sandbagging, because this was something the team had done often throughout testing in previous years, consistently showing up to the first race and placing 1-2 on the grid. The season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix, however, will not feature a Mercedes 1-2 on the grid. Instead, Lewis Hamilton was fifth quickest in qualifying, with new teammate George Russell ninth. Valtteri Bottas qualified sixth, a new personal best. For the season opener, Hamilton was roughly 0.7 seconds slower than pole sitter Charles Leclerc, with Russell much farther behind following a mistake. So, when did Mercedes' problem first emerge? The problems for Mercedes were clear even before the first race in 2022. Following a stable first test in Barcelona, Mercedes drew attention ahead of the second test in Bahrain with a stunningly elegant new look for their W13 vehicle, which many, including most in the paddock, anticipated to see a team with so much experience in navigating new rules find quick speed. I could tell on track even in Bahrain that it didn't exactly seem like the vehicle that I knew in the simulator, Anthony, who works as a simulator driver for the World Champions, says. That had already set off a few warning bells in my head. What's the deal with that? What exactly is the problem? If Formula One were to award a Word of the Year in 2022, it would be porpoising, a phenomenon that brought Mercedes' 8-year AMG's dominance in the sport to a juddering halt. Anyone who has worked on racing vehicles with powerful ground effect underfloor Venturi tunnels is familiar with the repetitive bouncing action of a porpoising F1 car. The term stems from the aquatic mammal's habit of skipping in and out of the water's surface as it moves, a movement mirrored by the rise and fall of an automobile. As speed increases, the downforce increases fast, and the low pressure beneath the floor grows, drawing the automobile closer to the ground. The underfloor aero stalls as a result of airflow separation at high speeds or the floor colliding strongly with the track surface. It can even be triggered by bumping into anything. The automobile then rises as the downforce is temporarily lessened, before being pulled back down when the underfloor returns to its original function. The bouncing motion is caused by the cycle repeating itself. Porpoising affects all of this current generation of F1 vehicles to varying degrees. Porpoising on the straight, on the other hand, isn't always a concern as long as it's managed and doesn't cause harm to the car or the driver. When you hit a corner, it's a question of how fast the porpoising stops and what sacrifices you make to the setup to regulate the phenomena. The dynamics of an automobile entering a bend are crucial, and this is especially true for one whose performance is controlled by aerodynamics. This necessitates a compliant, consistent mechanical platform as well as a predictable and controllable aerobalance change as you enter the turn. A bouncing automobile is unpredictably unpredictable. You can't really stop it, the only thing you can do is take your foot off the pedal and go slower, said Sir Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time champion. However, the car bounces when it goes up and down, and if you're turning in at 200 miles per hour with the car loaded and unloaded, you can imagine that's extremely unstable. Hamilton was referring to the car's performance in Australia's high-speed left-right turns 9 and 10, which came after a long, flat-out blast in which porpoising was most evident. Although the Ferrari was porpoising more furiously than the Mercedes, Charles Leclerc was able to qualify on pole and win. Because Ferrari had to make substantially fewer setup compromises, the influence it carried into turn 9 was significantly diminished, albeit it was still noticeable. The Mercedes drivers, on the other hand, appear to have to be more cautious entering fast corners in order to allow the car to settle at least somewhat. Mercedes will have to make significantly more sacrifices in terms of ride height. Because the porpoising problem occurs at a lower speed than the Ferrari, this means surrendering downforce, and hence lap time, all around the lap. It also comes with an increase in drag. That's why Bahrain has been the team's best track so far this season, with its predominantly lower speed corners allowing the Mercedes to run somewhat lower than in Saudi Arabia or Australia. So, why is preventing porpoising so difficult? It isn't, however, it does have a cost in terms of performance. That's the issue. Raising the ride height affects the efficacy of the aerodynamic seal and hence the total amount of downforce of the automobile by effectively venting low pressure, particularly when the floor comes closer to the ground. And downforce is performance, with the grip it creates far outstripping what is mechanically possible. It's tough to simulate porpoising since you can't run the automobile too close to the rolling belt in the wind tunnel without damaging it. And, as useful as CFD is, its calculations get increasingly complicated and break down when modeling things that are extremely near to the Earth. Mercedes has used the data it has acquired to improve its models, but it can only fully examine the problem and its potential remedies if the car is driven. The combination of F1's cost cap, which is set at $140 million, £107 million in 2022, plus the absence of testing means Mercedes doesn't have the funds or track time for endless trial and error solutions. So mending it will take time, with team president Toto Wolff reiterating his mantra that no magic bullet exists at every chance, and driver George Russell emphasizing that the vehicle will only undergo incremental upgrades in the near future. Mercedes may be tempering expectations with a solution on the horizon, but the team has become noticeably less confident in its ability to solve its difficulties as time has gone. And Mercedes' main opponents privately believe it will take time for Mercedes to resolve its issues. So is it really over for this team? Can they come up with a solution less detrimental to downforce and speed? Because one thing is clear, they certainly need to if they are to re-emerge as championship threat this year. If you are a Mercedes person, then you definitely don't want to miss the next update we have on this issue, because this is exactly what we will discuss in our next video, so you might want to subscribe to stay informed as soon as the video gets published. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.